What's up, everyone? It is the most wonderful time of the year. Spoiler season. Spiritforged is upon us. I was at my Nexus nights. I drove home, and there's a bunch of spoilers already. And I wanted to at least make a video where I kind of just go over the spoilers so far, give my quick takes. We'll probably do a bigger video with like the full set review later, and some future Winning Point podcast episodes will cover a lot of this. But we had just recorded the pod earlier, so the one for this week won't have the spoilers, and I'd love to at least talk about them myself. So we'll just start out with these ones that have been revealed. We got each of the legends, and I guess we'll go through that first. We'll do legends first, and then we'll go through kind of the order of everything else so we can kind of see what we've got. And to kick things off, Irelia Blade Dancer, our first Calm Chaos. This is going to be Yasuo's colors as well. And her ability is when you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me to pay 1 power to ready it. When you conquer, you may pay 1 energy to ready me. So this is, I mean, really, really strong, I would say. The downside here is that you need to have enough spells that choose your units as targets. So this is your on guards. This is your disciplines. There's plenty of options, like even Ride the Wind, but that already readies things, right? There's Flash, you can ready things, but there's a lot of options to get this ability to ready. But some of them you're going to want to deploy on defense, and so this is going to be completely useless in those cases. And then also, I mean, you're having to spend a card and an additional power in order to ready that unit. And we know that readying units is incredibly powerful. We know that accelerating units is incredibly powerful. So this ability has to be really strong. However, I do think that the hoop you have to jump through seems like it's enough right now that I wouldn't like immediately be worried about Irelia. I do think that movement can get pretty broken and pretty crazy with enough support, and Irelia is going to be super fun to play, being able to like ready all your stuff and just kind of moving every which place when it is your turn. But yeah, it does limit the defensive options a little bit because you're going to want to hold those target spells for offensive capabilities, and it is enough of a hoop to jump through where it's going to be pretty card intensive to make this really sing. So I think that Irelia is pretty reasonable, and I want to see what the support is that comes with her to make this even better, because right now obviously we're just seeing the targeted spells that we currently have, and there could be a lot of really crazy targeted stuff that is going to be absolutely nuts. This is going to synergize with like this set mechanic, which I should go over really briefly. The mechanic that we've got so far is equipment. This is a gear. Funny enough, I tweeted about this when Ornn was revealed. I was like, I'm pretty sure we're getting items, which I think is a very, like, not a crazy prediction. I think a lot of people probably saw this coming, but we did in fact get items. And these will, I believe, count as choosing a unit. That would be my understanding when I look at this for attaching a unit. I think you are choosing that unit. We'll have to get a rules clarification on that, but my assumption is that she's going to work with that set mechanic to be able to play out these equipment, and then you'll be able to choose your units to ready them. And I think when I think about it in that vein, I'm like, okay, this can start to get a little bit crazy. I think Irelia really has a lot of potential to be moving everything every which way and still use, instead of having to be so card intensive, you're actually just kind of playing a game. I'm changing my own mind as we speak in real time. These are my first unfettered thoughts about these cards, and this is certainly a strong one. So I shouldn't spend too much time on it. This is just first takes. Irelia might be able to abuse the equipment really hard, and that sounds kind of cool. Outside of that, it'll be card intensive, so we'll see if that works out. But up next, I skipped Draven because I missed the signature spell. So we got somebody with a signature spell. Draven, holy crap, this is Fury plus Chaos. And you'll get to put Dravens in your champion zone, and we have a Draven coming up, and I'll kind of tie that into this Draven here. But he reads, when you win a combat, draw 1. So this is if you win, you win only if if only your units remain after combat. This is not an on conquer effect, but it is an on conquer if you also you could do this on defense. So we're not even gonna talk about conquering. This is when you win fights, you get to draw. That is a draw engine in red purple, just like Jinx has, which Jinx's effect is strong, but it is slow and it's not super consistent. if you're playing strong stuff and you're winning fights, you will get to replace cards. And it makes a lot of things even stronger. Assault units going in there, winning a fight against a small thing, giving you a card, even if they're able to remove it later, you've replaced it already. This seems just strictly powerful. Draw a card is crazy. Draven, I think, will just become the best purple-red deck over Annie and Jinx would be my initial prediction, because this to me seems crazy. The counterplay is you have to abandon the battlefields often so that your opponent can't run in, which is crazy because he's going to be aggressive and fast. This seems really difficult. This seems like really insanely strong. And it will be maybe kept down by decks like Kai'Sa, who have spell removal and can kind of play around this. But yeah, this seems really strong. And Spinning Axe will be his signature. Spinning Axe reads Quick Draw, which is part of the new equipment effect. This is a gear and equipment that only Draven can play. It is 2 energy, 1 power. Quick Draw, this has reaction, so you can play this at reaction speed. So a 2 energy, 1 power, reaction speed attach for +3 might. That's a crazy combat trick. That's a very strong combat trick. In order to attach it, it's relatively cheap. However, like for future equips, if it is unattached, it dies at the start of your beginning phase. You have to drop the axe, which is amazing flavor. You'll drop the axe if you do not kind of combo off with it. If you lose that fight, you won't get the draw. You'll drop your axe. You'll lose everything, right? So Draven is really playing around, keeping this axe going over and over and over again once he gets it rolling. But it is a very strong combat trick to help him win those fights and get that card draw. I think this will certainly make it into the decks. I just think even the combat trick itself is relatively powerful, and it will synergize a little bit with we'll jump up to Draven Vanquisher. We've got the regular art and the alternate art here. This is a 4 energy, 4 might champion Draven Vanquisher. When I win a combat, play a gold gear token exhausted. When I attack or defend, you may pay 1 Fury power. If you do, give me +2 this turn, so it becomes a 6. Gold gear token, for context, I don't think they have an image of it here, unfortunately, but a gold gear token is, you may I think it's destroy this, exhaust this to destroy it, to get 1 power. So it's a one-time seal. So you exhaust, destroy it, you get a power. So if you're able to win combats with this, you're regenerating power that you're going to use for other things, which helps you not deramp. We've seen how strong this is with Kai'Sa. He is going to be a very good attacker to win combats, to get you the card draw that you want, and he'll be a good vehicle to kind of continue juggling that spinning axe, being able to play it from hand and pay an extra power. You pay in a couple power, and you're buffing this guy up to a 9 at 6 energy, but I guess he's not accelerated, so you play him for 4, and then your next turn, you'll kind of do something big. He's in purple, so you could kind of cheat that out and get him in there. But I would say this seems pretty strong coming out of the partner zone. I wonder if it'll be this Draven or if it'll be Origins Draven, which is the 5 energy, 1 power, get, might equal to the amount of points that you scored. He's 3 might, then plus whatever you've points you have. And I think there's definitely some use cases for both. I think this Draven is strong. I think not having a power cost as a turn 2 play at any point that you're just getting a lot of might on the board seems really good to me. And then from there, like, you could consider if your deck is really fast, then maybe the other Draven is better. But this one, it seems like an always pretty solid choice that we can go for. So that is Draven holistically. When I look at Draven initially, this is my early frontrunner before we're getting any other spoilers based on the current card pool. This is a frontrunner for me to be one of the best decks in Spiritforged. Now, that's obviously a very hard take considering we've got, 16 cards? But I just look at this ability and I'm like, there is no way that this guy is going to be bad. This guy has to be very strong. And we'll see how that ages. I'm very curious to watch Draven develop. I'm pretty excited to play Draven. I like this color combination. I like drawing cards. I'm probably going to be playing a lot of Draven. Let's go up next. We have Azir, Emperor of the Sands. This is going to be Calm and Order. Your Sand Soldiers have Weaponmaster. And a Weaponmaster, we're going to just have to quickly come up here. Weaponmaster, when you play me, you may equip one of your equipment to me for 1 power less. even if it is already attached. So this is going to be your Sand Shoulders have Weaponmaster. You can pay 1 energy and tap Azir to play a 2 Might Sand Soldier unit token to your base. You can only use this if you played an equipment. So it's a better Victor as far as the ability, but there is a stipulation on when you are allowed to actually play it. And that means you have to play equipment, which is, you know, kind of the big set mechanic here. And I'm going to jump around a little bit. I was going to do things organized, but we're going to jump around. Because you've got equipment from Azir, you're looking at things like this. Doran Shield in green. So you pay 1, and then instead you're actually paying 2 to play Azir. So you pay 1. This says equip, just pay 1 power to attach this to a unit you control. It gives tank and +1. So the Sand Soldier is going to come in for 2 energy. You play 1 Doran's Shield. You play out the Sand Soldier with Weaponmaster. It equips the Doran Shield. And now you have paid a 2 energy, 3 might unit with tank. And you have this equipment developed for the future. That seems pretty good as some of the early drops that you'll get for Azir. And that continues on. Guardian Angel, you do this for 3, and then you basically have a 3 might unit that's going to revive itself afterwards, step back to a 2. So it's just like a value play. Sterak's gauge is a little bit more difficult because it's a reaction speed, but it gives you a combat trick that can be played just as a unit in a pinch later on. Because, you know, we're looking at Sterak's, which is 3 energy, 2 power, quick draw. It has reaction, 1 power cost to equip, and then +3. I'm just excited, so I'm rambling, but you have to take a look at some of these equipment as you go to see the value of Azir, and I'll try and break them down a little bit more as I go through everything else. But I like this idea. It's in colors I really enjoy yet again. I've been playing a lot of Leona, so Azir is definitely something I am interested in, I'm excited about. Azir is also one of my favorite champions in League of Legends. The 2 champions I was looking forward to the most are like Azir and Swain, and I've already got Azir, so this is another one I'm very, very excited to be playing. Up next, we've got the Chem Baroness Renata Glasc. This says, when you or an ally hold, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token exhausted. While your score is within 3 points of victory, your gold adds an additional 1 energy, and she is Mind and Order. This is going to be very cool playing around gold once again, which remember that is tap and exhaust and destroy to give you a power. So now when you make these gold, you in the future will also be able to get an energy cost from that as well when you are getting close to winning. Being able to cheat a lot of extra resources, maybe play a more power-hungry Mind Order deck than we've been able to see in the past. And I think there's even a lot of room for maybe a hook deck to come through because these golds can potentially pay for the hook, and you can play a very aggro-oriented Mind Order hook deck that then uses power costs early to get gold, and then use that gold to help you not be too far behind in the resources game once you scored a bunch of points. And I think that's a very cool deck building kind of tension that you get out of Renata Glasc, where you want to find ways to use this power, but also you need to be strong enough to generate it in the first place. And I think that's really cool. I was surprised to see Renata this early, and I'm also very excited for this champion to be in the game. I think Renata looks awesome. Up next is Sivir. This is going to be Body and Chaos. It's Sivir Battle Mistress. When you recycle a rune, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token exhausted. When 1 or more enemy units die, ready me. This again, like Renata, you want to maybe want to play some more power costs early to start generating that gold, and then you have it to pay your future power costs so you don't deramp further. And once again, this is a thing with Kai'Sa. Like, gold is going to be so good because we've seen how good having this extra power is from Kai'Sa. We've seen how good seals are when they get to be in the right spots, when you find them early. And so gold, I think, is a very strong mechanic that we're going to see a lot of value come from. Sivir, I'll admit, this is not the most exciting one for me, but I think that there's some really cool opportunities here for Body and Chaos to be a more aggressive deck. You know, we've seen a lot of I want to say War Mothers because I'm LOR brained, but Aurora in this color combination with Misfortune, and the aggro decks have fallen to the Wade side. I'm hoping that with Sivir, we'll see a lot more support for an aggressive variant of Body Chaos, and maybe Sivir gets to be where you want that home to exist, or maybe it'll be going back to Misfortune in that way. But that is the Legends. For me, I'm looking at Draven, I'm looking at Azir, and honestly, for me, Renata seems like the most fun. I don't know that I'm at. I will be. Look, I'm gonna be corrected very quickly, I'm sure, when more stuff is revealed and Irelia is released. But I think my boy Yasuo still has some legs here with Irelia coming through. But now, let's keep getting through the rest of this. I'm talking fast, but that's because I don't want this to be a super long video, and it's gonna be because I can't shut up. So we will jump up to Longsword. This is one of our first equipment that we're gonna really talk about. Gear, equipment, the new tag, 2 energy, 1 fury power. This is quick draw, so you can play it as a reaction. So this is discipline, but bad, kind of, right? Because it's like +2. But it's not just for the turn. It's forever. So if you win the combat, you're getting a lot more value, right? Even though you don't draw a card, it costs a power. But if it sticks, this is just +2 sitting around. I mean, I think equipment is very strong and should not be underestimated. It makes sense that these power costs are going to exist. Maybe go buy seals, because maybe seals are back on the menu if this is going to be something you can continue to equip around and want to pay this power cost. But it will cost you 1 additional Fury Rune in power cost to equip it to a unit unless they have Weaponmaster. I think Weaponmaster is a keyword we also have to look out for. That's going to be a really, really strong keyword. So Longsword, that's the first one. I think that it is impossible for me to fully evaluate equipment as of now until we start to see more. But what I'll tell you is I personally think equipment is going to be really good, and it will be a staple of Spiritforged, and it will be everywhere. All types of decks are going to want to play it. And ones with quick draw in particular, I think that is something you're going to really have to look at, because reaction speed stuff is just kind of good. And I will always drive that home. So I like Longsword. It seems pretty basic, but it is a rare. So it is, something that they're probably pushing a little bit more, thinking to be good. And I could see this make its way into some red decks, though Draven probably doesn't want it because it's just worse than Spinning Axe. Doran Shield, quickly talked about this. This sounds crazy in Azir. I don't know what other decks are going to want this, but this will be a 3 of in every Azir deck out the gates, and we'll see if it gets trimmed from there, but I don't see a world. I think that is way too strong with Azir. 2 energy to basically just play a 3 might unit with tank and a Doran Shield will just exist on the board forever. Yeah, I mean, sign me up. That seems really great. I think that seems phenomenal, and definitely going to be bread and butter turn 1 play for Azirs everywhere. Guardian Angel, this is 2 energy in Calm. Equip is just going to cost you 1 power from green. If I would die, kill Guardian Angel instead. Heal me, exhaust me, recall me, and it is a +1. This is Zhonya's, but you can continue... no, you actually can't continue to attach it. It will get destroyed. This is Zhonya's. This is an extra copy of Zhonya's that gives a +1 might and is completely face up because you didn't hide it. It's better when you play it with a Weaponmaster because you don't have to pay this power cost. And it's better than a hidden Zhonya's if you don't care about the fact that it's hidden, because it gives +1. And then other than that, it's pretty mediocre, but I say mediocre, but there's a lot of ways that you can abuse these effects. I think that these effects are really strong with big units. And so Guardian Angel, just like Zhonya's, we kind of have to see how it actually feels to play. If it feels too slow, if the power cost feels like something you don't want to spend, where you'd rather just play as Zhonya's and then do the thing you were going to do to trade. But this is very controlled Zhonya's if you have a bigger board of units and you want to particularly protect one, then Guardian Angel works a lot better. So actually, in that vein, I think it fills a different enough niche than Zhonya's that it's probably similarly good to Zhonya's, and I think I like it a lot because I think Zhonya's is a phenomenal card. So I think that's where I'm going to put Guardian Angel. Sterak's Gage, we talked about it a little bit when I was talking about Azir, but 3 energy, 2 calm power, which is a lot of resources. This is a wind wall of investment, but it has quick draw, so it can be played at reaction speed to give +3. And then from there on out for the rest of the game, this is, pay 1 more calm power and then attach a +3 to any unit. So this starts to show you just like how strong the devs think equipment is, because this is such a huge power investment that you are constantly putting into gauge, even the first time you play it 2, and then from there 1 every single time if the unit dies. But +3 might is nothing to scoff at. This is turning your weenies into things that are contending 4 and 5 drops. I mean, this is a lot of might. And while immediately I look at the power cost here and I'm like, this can't be good. But if seals are making it in because of the amount of like repeatable power costs in the game being added, if seals can find their way in and there's more card draw, I can see this being a very powerful effect to have. And we'll have to see, really. I mean, equipment is so interesting to see how this might develop. Up next is Felzinger. This is a 3 energy, 1 power domain calm card. I don't know why I said domain. Calm domain card. Green. It says equip for 1 energy and 1 green power. As this is attached to a unit, copy that unit's text to this equipment's effect text. Equipment's effect text for as long as this is attached to it. So immediately, I saw tweets. Pastry Time was saying, attach this to your green RE, and then you'll score 3 points for a hold, right? Which is very funny, and I think a really good like level 1 look at this. This is hilarious. What about green Yasuo? Let's deal 6 of my might damage to 2 things at the battlefield. Leona determined. Let's stun 2 things when I enter the battlefield. Guys, this is pretty good. I will say the 0 might, you need to be putting it on things that are like, they gotta have value, right? Like let's talk about like blue Ari. Give -2 to 2 things. Hey, that's pretty good. That's a lot of value that you're actually starting to get. This is starting to become enough value. I mean, that's only 2 might of value, but I think for what this can do for other effects makes that worthwhile. I think this card is crazy. But because it doesn't give you any initial might, it's going to be hard to set up. It's going to be slow. And so, I mean, we'll have to see exactly where that works out. But I mean, I say slow, and also like, I mean, realistically, like you play green Yasuo a 1 development turn. Your next turn, you play this, you equip it for 4 and 1, and you just have Yasuo ability a second time. Is it even that slow? There's like some I mean, it's slow. Like it is slow. It is slow. It's slow, but is it that slow? This is sick. This card is gonna be cool as hell. This is gonna be fun to experiment with. I absolutely love it. It's an epic. It's deserved. That's awesome. Up next, Lucian Merciless. There's 2 Lucians here. We now know that Lucian will be body when that legend comes out. I don't think we knew that before. I think people could have guessed maybe it would be body, but we didn't know that. So Lucian, 3 energy, 3 might, body, champion unit, Weaponmaster, which I was saying with those things above. Weaponmaster looks like it's gonna be good. When you play me, equip one of your equipment for 1 power less, even if it's already attached. So you can move it to the Weaponmaster. The first time I conquer each turn, ready me. Oh, why did I predict that? I'm pretty sure I said this somewhere on the pods. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter that I predicted it or not. I'm just like, of course he's gonna ready himself. I'm a Legends of Runeterra head. Lucian is gonna rally and he's gonna attack again. Surprised he doesn't have ganking, to be honest. But he will conquer and run away. He's gonna have some hit and run tactics available to him. You see this 3 energy, 3 might, but this is going to save you some power cost. If you've played any equipment, he's just gonna equip it for free theoretically and just be this really big unit. I think this is gonna be pretty bread and butter for any deck that is in body and playing some of these early equipments. I'm not sure, like, we don't know what these equipments are going to do. And so this card is either terrible or it's going to be very strong, and it's going to be in a lot of decks. I think 3 energy units get a lot of flack because you want to go first, and you can't play this when you're going first, and so you like want to skip it and play a 4-drop instead. But I do think that the ability to maybe like weave in some 1-cost equipment might end up making this like a lot better and more interesting and appealing for people in the future. As we take a look at the alt art, I mean, that's gorgeous. I love the High Noon skin line. That's awesome. And here is an example of an orange equipment that I would probably not play with Lucian because it doesn't seem very good with Lucian. But what it says is this is Trinity Force, tons of damage. It's really not that much damage, actually. It's only +2 might, but it is 4 energy, gives 2 might, and it has the text, when I hold, score 1 point. So it has RE text on it. This is really hard to evaluate on whether or not it is very good or not. But what I will say, and I've been consistent with, I think anything that says score 1 point as an additional part of the card, you need to look at. You need to consider, is this something that is good enough? Should this go in my deck? Is there a strategy around this? And I think Trinity Force may have strategy around it somewhere. Up next, Overzealous Fan. This is a new 2-drop for Chaos. I think Chaos needed 2 drops. It had, obviously Traveling Merchant and Tide Turn is kind of cool, but I do think it needed some other 2-drop options. And Overzealous Fan is going to be that 2 energy, 2 might. When I defend, you may kill me to move an attacking unit to its base. Look, this is going to work in certain decks. If you're playing a deck that really needs to stall time, this will buy you time. You go Conquer with it. Your opponent comes in with something bigger. You didn't plan to defend it, so you were just going to lose this unit anyway. Guess what? You've denied your opponent a point, and you're going to be able to have open battlefields to jump into. I think this is very strong for that reason, because oftentimes these purple decks that are playing very aggressive are kind of looking for effects like this. You're pushing their units back. You're bouncing them back to the hand. And so having the ability to go in and score, and then when they try and move in, you just say, nope, goodbye. And that's only if you play it in the early game that way. In the late game, you get to just put him at a base you're trying to giga hold as purple. Say you're Teemo, and you're trying to hold somewhere with hidden. You drop an Overzealous Fan in there. And then they say, okay, well, I'm trying to send a bunch of stuff in here. But then you've got the hidden stuff to reveal. You destroy your fan to send back their biggest thing. I mean, this is just copies 4 through 6 of Fight or Flight, except for it requires you to be currently holding and have 2. You can't hide it. So it's worse, but it's a 2-drop. So I don't know. It kind of has a lot of the things you'd want out of a card. I like this card, actually. I like this card a lot. I probably will play this card. I think this card looks pretty good. All right, cool. Blade of the Ruin King. I'm trying to snap. Dude, I'm tired, by the way. I got back from my Nexus Nights and I'm sleepy. Whatever. We going. Blade of the Ruin King. 3 energy, 1 power gear. Iconic, by the way. Gorgeous. Epic card. The treatment. It looks beautiful. Mwah. Where's Viego? We'll see. Maybe one day. Equip. Pay 1 order power. Kill a friendly unit. So this is a high cost to pay each time, but it is to put a +4 on something. And if you are recruit spam, I will pay this. And if they have made Karthus good this set and put good Death Knells in, maybe this has an additional synergy there. I think the cost is steep, but if you are playing a swarm deck, like, for instance, Azir, which wants to swarm a bunch of stuff on the board, and then you could ignore the power cost at least when you equip the Sand Soldier, you'd still have to kill something. That's a lot of might to put on a soldier. You'd make that Sand Soldier like a 4 for 6. You have to pay a little bit more, 4 and a power for 6, which is good because of the fact that you're like doing it with you're generating the unit to put this on. And then this card can later still equip to something else to make it bigger that's ready to send in somewhere. I'm a fan. I think this will work. I think this will be good. But I don't know how many copies you can play of it. Probably like 1. It's probably like a 1 of. We'll see. I'm very intrigued. But that's the last one currently on the card gallery. There's a few bonus cards that I'm going to rapid fire through here. Because this went from I was like, oh, I'll make a 10-minute video to this is 30 minutes. Feral Strength, 2 energy, reaction. This has, I think I cut it off. It's fine. 2 energy, reaction has repeat, so you can pay the cost again to repeat the spell. Give a unit +2 this turn. So this is when you're able to keep up a bunch of runes. So think Sona players. I think decks that want to play Sona are going to really be able to get a lot of use out of things like repeat without too much investment. And it's like you played your discipline and you drew another discipline. And oftentimes when you play discipline, sometimes the best draw is either on guard or a second discipline. So I think that there's going to be space to play this, especially because it's like just any of these green tricks are going to maybe find their home. Dreaming Tree, it's another card that you can play on to try and draw cards on Dreaming Tree. I generally like it. I think it's a common. It's fine. It'll find its spots in certain decks, especially Sona decks. And then other than that, it's not like better than Discipline, but it just has spots that it's better than Discipline. And just to clarify that, like Discipline draws you a card if you only have 2 energy up, and that's just way better. If you only have 2 energy up, Discipline's always better, right? Like, so there's just a few spots this would be better. And then there's this one. This is Blood Rush. We can't really see it, but basically this said pay 1 to give +2, and it had repeat. So I think it's going to be Assault, so that this isn't just better than Feral Strength, because this is just +2 for 2 reaction speed. This was also played at reaction speed in the video, and go watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. It's very nice from the Riftbound team. So I'm going to assume that this gives Assault 2, and then you can do it again to get another Assault 2, is going to be my guess on Blood Rush, and we'll see if I'm right, but we don't have a card visual for that. Up next is the Azir Champion card. We can see that it is 4 energy, 4 might, accelerate, and somebody says they think they saw it. They said, looks to me like it says, when I attack, you may move any number of blank to a battlefield, so we're going to assume that that might be Sand Soldiers getting moved. We'll see if that ends up being the case with that card. If it is, I think that Azir is going to be a really strong chosen champion to have. You can build your army of Sand Soldiers with gear and then send them all in somewhere with that Accelerate from the Champ Zone. And we know how strong Accelerate from the Champ Zone can be. So I'm very excited for that Azir. But anyways, that is all of the cards that have been revealed so far. I am very much looking forward to Spirit Forged. I will be covering all of the Chinese tournaments on this channel via the co-streams once those start happening for Spirit Forged. And we'll be talking about all of these cards and more on our podcast, The Winning Point, over and over again. So please make sure to subscribe if you like the video, and let me know what you think about these Spirit Forged cards and what you'd like to see more of in the future. Thanks. I'll see you next time.